NBC's coverage of the Tropicana 400 is brought to you by Original Coors. Nothing beats an original. By the Home Depot, the official home improvement warehouse of NASCAR. By Pep Boys, all you need to know is where to go. Pep Boys. And by Tropicana Pure Premium. Satisfy a deeper thirst.
Looking down on Chicagoland Speedway, where the Tropicana 400 is playing to a sold-out crowd, 75,000 seats, 37 luxury suites, and they're all full. The inaugural NASCAR Winston Cup Series race here. We're under caution for the 6th time in the race when Buckshot Jones crashed a moment ago in turns 1 and 2. Ricky Rudd was not far behind him when Jones crashed. He did a great job of dodging him and not making the situation worse. Let's take a listen.
With a little help from Rick Cordell, his spotter.
Watch ball, wreck in front of you. Coming at one, coming back across, coming across. Clear.
That's what the spotters, that's what his purpose was for originally, to try to avoid the driver to avoid an accident. Now they use them for everything.
And he did a good job, because if you could see when the car first spun and it was going to the wall, from a driver's perspective, all you can see is smoke. So you don't know if that car's staying up high or low. So the spotter told him what the car was doing so Ricky could react.
Jerry Nadeau was on pit road for some time with work being done on his car. He's now back on the track in 35th position, Matt.
And Randy Dorton, the head engine builder at Hendrick Motorsports, is holding the problem for Jerry Nadeau. Go ahead and talk about it, Randy. What was the problem? A hole in the oil line?
Well, this is one of the oil lines that connects the two coolers on each side of the ductwork. So whether it's got up against something, rubbed a hole in it, or something's come up and nicked it, we don't know what that is, but this is the reason for the smoke.
And how long do you think that was happening?
It's hard to say. I mean, you know, till you really get under there and study the car, if something could have flown up and hit it, well, it just happened immediately, but that's kind of what it looks like happened.
The end result is still the same. It won't be a victory today for Jerry Nadeau.
Looks like we were a little too quick to condemn Tony for the tape on the grill, because it did not cook the engine. The oil came out of a broken oil line. So, Tony, I apologize.
Now we're getting ready for the restart. A handful of cars just came down pit road and topped off the fuel. Elliott Sadler, Todd Bodine, Robert Presley, Bobby Hamilton, Ricky Craven, Casey Atwood, Dave Blaney, Jeremy Mayfield, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Lead lap runners, a number of them stopping. That sets them with a full tank of fuel and 73 laps to go. No caution from here to the finish. This could become an economy run.
That's an awfully long ways to run on a tank of fuel.
These other guys that didn't stop, they've been out under the yellow flag for a long time. Will one of them try and stretch the fuel to the finish? Remember, Joe Nemechek only got 2 tires on his pit stop. He's the leader. Kevin Harvick got 4 fresh tires. He's behind him. Ken Schrader's the lap car, the yellow machine to the inside. Racing for 22nd position. The first car's a lap down. Spencer's in 3rd, the 26. John Andretti's not on the lead lap in the 43.
Spencer just cannot clear himself off that traffic. In the 29 car, Kevin Harvick, look how fast he is as he just closes up on the back bumper of Nemechek.
Nemechek's left side tires have almost 60 laps on him. Got a spin in turn 4. Todd Bodine. Don't think he hit anything. But caution.
One round.
I think
go straight, go straight. Watch that 7, watch the 7.
The dust, I believe, is one reason that NASCAR threw the caution flag, because
did we hit anything?
As the drivers come back around and see that dust, it would scare them a little bit. So I think NASCAR wisely threw the caution flag. There's the dust that I was talking about.
Watch Ward Burton try to get a lap back from Joe Nemechek. Not going to do it. These extra laps we're going to get under caution now really are going to make the fuel mileage situation ticklish.
And there we see the 66 gets in the corner, and there's that evil stuff
right there.
It doesn't take so much.
And it looks like he stands on the gas. That's a good move. Now you got to get back on the brakes.
Ride him, cowboy.
Yeah, he's riding it out.
And there's that cloud of dust.
See how dirty it is up there? When you get up high, all that dirt and stuff up there, that's slick when you get up there with one of these race cars.
And almost every caution flag NASCAR puts a jet blower on the speedway to blow that stuff off.
That's pretty cool, really.
It was pretty cool. You know, by nailing the gas up there, he almost drove it down into the inside wall head on.
Drivers have a nickname for that. Call it the slide for life. Todd Bodine gets away with it. He's on the lead lap in 22nd position. No doubt he'll come to pit road and get 4 fresh tires. Last caution was brought out for a crash involving Buckshot Jones, and Dave Burns can update us on Buckshot's condition. Dave?
Yeah, Buckshot is still in the infield care center. They're going to keep him there and hydrate him. He's awake and alert, which means he's okay. He does have some left knee pain, but that's about it for Buckshot.
Fantastic. What great news.
Pit stops under the caution. Some of the lead lap cars are in topping off the fuel.
That means that they're going to try to make it the rest of the way. Mark Martin, just fuel only. Get it just as full as they possibly can.
Kurt Busch, Johnny Benson, Dave Blaney, Ricky Craven, and Robert Presley are in for fuel. And Todd Bodine, like I said a minute ago, going to get 4 fresh tires. Bill? Bill Weber.
It's just 4 tires, like you were saying, Alan. They're going to pull the fender out and they top it off with fuel. You know, this is very interesting. These guys coming down and getting fuel. You get a few caution laps here, you could see some very interesting things play out. Obviously, Todd's one of those guys. He's got the best tires now. He's got fuel, but Mark Martin and the others that just came down pit road, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Bill, what are you hearing from the crew chiefs down at your end of the pit lane? Anybody think they're good to go to the finish on fuel?
The 6 may be right now, Alan, but the rest of the guys all said that there was no way they would be able to make it. In fact, they were talking on the radio when this caution just came out. This is a quickie yellow. Everybody could have pitted the first time around, but they basically stayed out because they don't believe they can make it from here. So certainly they couldn't make it from a few laps earlier. So it's going to be a gas and go for a lot of guys at the end if we stay green. Otherwise, if there's a caution, you know, between here and there, all that strategy's out the window. But these guys that came in and topped off now, you get some of those caution laps, Alan. You know how that works. You're out there riding around, saving fuel, hoping you can, you know, pull an Elliott Sadler or something like that.
I'd be surprised to see, I think Mark will come in when they show the 1 to go. I think a lot of these cars are going to come back in when they say 1 to go to top it off a little bit.
Well, Matt Kenseth, who just pitted a moment ago, is back in the pits to get that extra special splash of gasoline to try to make this to the end of the race. He's on the lead lap, giving up track position for about, what, half gallon of fuel?
Yeah, we are on the 1 to go now. So the guys that came in are Kenseth, Stacy Compton, Ken Schrader, Hut Strickland, let's see, Casey Atwood, Jerry Nadeau, though he's lost a bunch of laps, Ricky Craven, and Robert Presley. Race summary for you. Inaugural races at tracks sometimes have what we call yellow fever. The caution flag waving a lot. We've had that today. 7 cautions, 41 laps.
Good restart. Andy, we're entering 3 now.
67 laps to go right now. That is an even 100 miles. Who has fuel to the finish? Joe Nemechek with the older left side tires was trying to hold off Kevin Harvick when the caution came out. Let's get back at it and see how this all turns out.
And this is Ward Burton's best chance to get a lap back in a long, long time, because he's got a car up there with used tires, and he might be a little bit faster, but he could make it up alongside the 33.
On the lead lap. Sterling Marlin in 4th, Jeff Gordon in 5th. Jeff Burton, yep, sixth
spot.
Jason Leffler in the 01 is in 25th, a lap down. Had that one long green flag stretch in the middle of the race where we went through the one set of green flag pit stops that caught all these guys a lap down. Tony Stewart and Rusty Wallace racing for 7th and 8th. Stewart in the orange car.
Red Bodine goes on the inside of Michael Waltrip. Here's Rusty Wallace. If he watches this. And Michael very, very high.
Think his heart skipped a beat there?
Oh, Rusty gets a good run, but not quite enough to get alongside Tony Stewart.
Stacy Compton just got up into the evil stuff in turn 4, but kept it off the wall. Kevin Harvick starting to put a lot of pressure on Joe Nemechek for the race lead. Here he comes off of turn 4.
Looking inside, Joe. He's got a fender on you. He's there. Clear after the 29.
That was good. I mean, you know, Joe knew he was coming and just cracked the throttle a little bit, let Harvick go, get back in line, and he really didn't lose much on 3rd place.
Get your rhythm, just you and the 29.
But he did Jimmy Spencer a favor because he held Kevin Harvick up, I don't know, maybe a second or two while Spencer got rid of the traffic. And now if Spencer has anything, if he has a fast race car, we'll see if he can chase down Kevin Harvick.
But he's still got to get by Joe.
Right now Spencer's about a second and a quarter behind Harvick. But you're right, he's got to get by Joe Nemechek first.
CR Williams Energy race chase. Kevin Harvick, Joe Nemechek in the real-time telemetry.
Watch Harvick down in the corner. 194. Nemechek also 194. These left sides on Nemechek have about 60 laps on them, and he's got to run another 60 laps. Front stretch, the fastest part of the speedway. That time, Kevin Harvick's average speed was 178.9 miles per hour. That's the fastest lap I've seen the last 2 days. Spencer was 177.8. Nemechek was 176.7.
Let's drop back to the race for 4th. Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Burton. It's the first time all day I haven't seen Dale Jarrett right alongside Jeff Gordon. DJ lost some ground on that last set of pit stops. He's back in the 11th spot. He went in 5th, came out 10th in the pit stops, and he's lost a position since.
Gordon takes that spot away from Sterling Marlin, and here comes Jeff Burton. So in 1/2 lap, the 40 car loses 2 spots.
We're inside the final 100 miles of the Tropicana 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series at the Chicagoland Speedway. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.